You're with Newsmakers. On the panel, Chris Hutching, Garth Gallaway and Alec, Neill. An Opawa dairy owner has been the subject of quite a bit of debate this week after he decided to repel an armed robber with a pump-action firearm. He attacked him with his cardboard display unit, which I think normally sells gift vouchers, and it's got some very nasty hooks on this unit. Thankfully, the robber did not shoot, and the plucky Mr. Patel survived the ordeal relatively unscathed. However, Mr. Patel, should he be applauded for his gutsiness or frowned upon for his foolishness? Mr. Gallaway.
Well, it's a standard thing, isn't it? We tend to admire that sort of bravery, but I think people take the police's line as well and say that other people shouldn't take people on in that situation. I'm not sure that I would. I admire his bravery. I'm not sure it was very sensible.
If he had been shot, God forbid, what would we be saying today, Chris?
Well, I suppose we'd be, horrified about the whole thing, and I suspect the police would have come out a bit stronger in warning people not to do this sort of thing. I just wondered to myself, what have his wife and children been telling him all week? Because, I mean, if you've got somebody that's staring at you with a shotgun, we all know what a shotgun can do. Pretty crazy, really. I don't think I admire him. I think I'd be thinking, here's the tool, mate, take it.
Really?
Goodbye.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, he's revealed that he had determined that it was a real gun as well. Because he took his time, didn't he, I think, to weigh up whether it was a plastic imitation or the real McCoy. What would you be doing in a situation like this, Mr. Neill?
I think these two wimps need to get a bit of backbone.
Really?
Hey, look, congratulations, well done, and that's what he should have done too, and he should have hit them even harder.
Yeah.
My concern is if they find the fellow, you may find Mr. Patel being charged with assault, because this is often the case, because it was on television that he picked up a piece of metal and whacked the fellow.
But this was genuine self-defence, was it not?
In my opinion, absolutely self-defence.
Yes.
And if in fact more young people, because the majority of them won't fire the gun, the majority, that if more young people realise that when they enter a shop like that, they might get whacked around the head with a baseball bat and deserve it, and if the police support those who are prepared to whack those little mongrels, and that's what they are, just dog tucker, around the head, then there might be a few less burglaries, and it's time that we had parents being more in control of what their young children are doing.
I like the line that a few letter writers this week have zoned in on about Mr. Patel's sort of Icelandic fatalism. We must all die one day. Well, interesting, isn't it?
It's certainly a dangerous piece of advice you're giving there, Alec, I'm afraid. I mean,
I'm living dangerous these days,
I'd quite like to see another 3 or 4 decades out yet, and I wouldn't be sacrificing it for a bit of cash.
Would you confront an intruder in your house?
I don't know. Look, I just don't know till you're confronted with it that you can answer that intelligently. Obviously, if my wife and children and pet Labrador were in danger, I'd like to think I'd do something, but I hope it's something I never have to confront.
Yes, you've had no robbers lately, have you?
Haven't had a robber for a long time, no.
Apart from perhaps a certain review conducted by Mr. Creech, the great thieving of local democracy.
Well, we won't discuss that today.
Now, the budget signalled a variety of changes to the tertiary education sector, and the government is very keen to encourage more and more full fee-paying foreign students to populate our learning institutions. Will this deprive even more New Zealanders of open entry to higher learning, or is open entry a big old myth that died a long time ago? How do we see this? Mr. Neill?
Well, I don't think we should discourage overseas fully paying students, because it is a business, and it's been done since the early 90s, where there was encouragement at that stage to increase substantially the number. Are we denying ordinary New Zealanders? I think it should be harder to get into the university to start with, that there should be some criteria that make sure that those persons that are going to university, and secondly, those who do go and qualify, and they all have student loans, should, in my view, still have some form of bonding back to the government until those loans are repaid. Many people then leave New Zealand and never return, and their student loans are never repaid, nor do they make any contribution, but they have been educated at our expense and disappear.
Chris?
No, I think that we're entering a bit of an era where we have some financial apparatchiks, to put it that way, in charge of these universities, who are looking at ways of making more money out of running them. We're getting conflicting messages here. Surely it is a public good to have a population that is well educated. At the moment, my own daughter is having trouble getting into a university to finish off a degree because of these sorts of pressures. I think we've got to be very careful when we start going down this road.
Garth, how do
I'm
you see it?
inclined to agree with Chris. Yeah, but I think that free education has been a myth in this country for a long time at tertiary level. But I worry if the foreign students are coming in here and that is somehow impacting on the amount of space available to local students, then of course it's of concern. I sometimes see though that the free education for local students and the foreign students coming in are quite separate issues.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much they really do tread on each other's toes.
I just wonder if, let's suppose I was a slow learner, but I had lots. I know. Oh, but I had plenty of financial means. As a New Zealander, if I was prepared to be a full fee-paying tertiary student under the government's guidelines, I would not be able to go to Canterbury University, even if I was prepared to pay every single dollar of that tuition. That seems a bit naff, doesn't it?
Are you expecting us to answer?
Yes.
Well, as a slow student, I think you've done extremely well. and
I might have won lotto on Saturday night.
And I'm proud that you, as it were, cut your teeth in Oamaru.
Oh, there you go. All right. We'll move on. Coming up shortly, sizing up Kaikoura for the under 500 and also 50 years of telly. Did you see it the other night? Do you want to see it again? That's coming up.